to go the other way, it's probably for the best. As long as it doesn't go as far as all men are pigs, all men are creeps, all men are trash. And that's what we were talking about earlier. Like when it gets to that place, you got to go, well, this is not a good place to be.
Well, also if there is an allegation that's taken at face value right away, because we do see, unfortunately, that some of these allegations are false.
Well, it has to be. This whole idea of believe women. Well, okay, but does that mean don't believe men? Because some women lie and some men lie. So what about individuals? What about human beings? So if we're going to, I mean, it's what we were talking about earlier, like white power or black power, brown power. Well, it's fucking human beings. And as soon as we stop looking at human beings as individuals and we just agree that one group is good and one group is bad, you've got some real discrimination problems there.
Yeah. Well, you can't win in that way either, because you can't look, whether you side with believe all victims or I believe, what is it? I believe women or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a hashtag.
Believe women,
I believe survivors or something like that.
Right.
And then, or if you say you want due process and women lie and, you know, that side of the equation, I think both sides are equally bad because you're not getting at the truth.
Well, we're also in this weird slippery thing when it comes to human beings and truth, because it's so hard to tell who's telling the truth. If two people see something, like see a car accident, and one person says, well, this lady ran the red light and slammed into the car, and then the person right next to her says, no, she didn't. This other guy ran the red light and she hit him. And this...
There's a lot of subjectivity in terms of like interpersonal relationships.
Well, there's also a problem with just describing things and language and reality. I don't know if you're telling the truth. I don't know. I mean, especially if it's just like, you know, I leave, I go to the bathroom, I come back, and Jamie says, she just called me a piece of shit. and you're like, no, I didn't. Like, okay, well, who's right? I don't know.
Right.
I literally don't have a mechanism to detect who said what. It is not possible.
Yeah.
So am I just going to believe women? Or am I going to believe the individual? Or am I going to try to like figure this out? Am I going to do my detective work? Fuck, it's very tricky. So when you're dealing with some certain accusations when it comes to human beings, like this Chris Hardwick thing is a perfect example of that. I mean, he was just reinstated yesterday by AMC. And that's a weird one. Because
she wrote it was an ex-girlfriend that wrote something about him. Yeah, I read that.
Well, she clearly didn't tell the truth about some aspects of their relationship. She cheated on him, and that's why he got rid of her or broke up with her. And then she also said he was this terrible boyfriend, and he did all. But then there's videos of her talking about what an amazing boyfriend he was while they were together, about how he stayed with her in the hospital and slept by her bed, and it's like, and she had a host of mental illnesses that she described in their video about like not being able to drive down the street with the windows open because she was worried that germs are going to get in her car, and all. And some of those she recovered from, and some of them she didn't. Like, there's another problem with people when it comes to when they're talking about things, they might not even be lying.
Yeah, that's
the thing. They just might have a distorted perception of reality.
Yeah.
That is another problem with human beings when it comes to any sort of interaction between two people.
Especially after a breakup, I think the way that a person can view the time they spent with someone can very much change based on, you know, their current situation or how that breakup happened.
100%. Yeah, on both sides. The real problem, though, is what we were saying is that human beings, it's very difficult. I can't read minds. You can't read minds. You can't look into memories. So we're relying on a person's description, and then we have to rely on what we know about them, what we know about their ability to describe things accurately, what we know about their perceptions of reality, their delusions, their clarity. It's fucking super tricky.
Yeah. I mean, my rule of thumb, what I would say to people is unless you know the two people, I don't think you can ever really know what happened. So in that case of, say, you leave and Jamie tells you I said something about you, you're probably going to go with Jamie, right? Because you know him. So I would say the same thing.
Jamie's a little crazy. I might go. No. Yeah, I mean, it's for sure. If I didn't know you and Jamie told me you did something fucked up, I would side with Jamie. But even that's weird. Like if I'm not there, if I don't know, if you say I didn't do anything, I'm like, well, maybe one day you'll be my best friend. And maybe one day Jamie will turn out to be a fucking psycho. I was like, remember when we used to think Jamie was okay? He's fucking crazy.
But that's the thing too. I think sometimes I do empathize with the women who say, if this happens to them and people say, well, that's a nice guy. I know that guy. That's my buddy. I've known him forever.
Right.
But you didn't date him. So
Right.
how do you know?
You don't know. Right. Yeah. You don't know. God damn it. It's fucking tricky.
Yeah.
You know, have you ever seen that episode of do you ever watch Black Mirror?
I watched one episode. So everyone tells me how amazing this show is. And I think it is amazing. But I saw one episode that really freaked me out. So I haven't
Was it
watched since.
Crocodile?
No, it was the one about, it was actually about the boy who was a pedophile and then he was being watched and blackmailed.
Whoa.
Creeped me out.
I didn't watch that one.
Okay.
But there's one called Crocodile.
Okay.
And it is easily the most disturbing episode of a television show I've ever watched in my life. And it has to do with technology that allows people to read memories.
Okay.
And I'll leave it at that because
Okay.
no spoiler alerts here. But it is a fucking dark episode.
It stays with you after, right?
This one does. This one's dark. I will give too much away if I talk about it. But the concept is that they have a machine and they set this machine up, and through this machine they can literally read your memories.
Okay.
Until that happens, we really don't know. And you know, there's been things in my life where I looked back on it and I had a perception, and then I went to the place where I grew up and I was like, I don't remember it looking like
Yeah.
this. I don't remember this being so close. Oh, the street's right here. Oh, this is where the house is. Oh. And then you have to kind of like remap your memories. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we got to clean these memories up and try to figure out what's accurate and what's not. But then this, I'm just talking about like the neighborhood where I grew up in. But what about you're adding in emotions? Then you're adding in painful emotions because of breakups and perhaps suicidal thoughts and
Time going by also.
Yes, time, sure. I mean, it's been absolutely proven that eyewitness testimony is the least accurate piece of evidence that any investigator can ever use in terms of like trying to figure out what happened at the scene of a crime or anything involving any sort of trauma. It's fucking hard with people's minds.
Yeah. And I mean, when we look at, say, the issue with Me Too and the sexual assault and sexual harassment, that I think also some people see this and they think, I want to help this person. So they might reinterpret their situation in a way to say, you know, I also want to help this person.
Well, I think